Hey folks, and welcome to the Truck King YouTube channel. Well, the trend continues. Manufacturers keep on adding new packages to their crossovers to make them more rugged and more ready to go off-road, and we have two of the freshest examples right here. That right there is the Kia Telluride X-Line, and behind me is the Nissan Pathfinder Rock Creek, and we're going to take a drive and tell you which one is better. Let's break down both of these models, and right here we have the brand new Nissan Pathfinder Rock Creek. Now, Pathfinder was fully redesigned in 2022, and then for 2023 they added this trim level. So when you go for Rock Creek, what are you getting? Well, first of all, unique styling, a whole revised front fascia and grille, and then you're getting a couple of actual helpful things like that roof rack up on top and a lift. Now, it's not much of a lift. Ground clearance here is up to 7.7 inches, up from 7.1, but hey, I'll take it. This model does have the best approach, departure, and ground clearance of any Pathfinder you can buy. Now, besides that stuff, you also get some leatherette seats inside, some contrast orange stitching, and a bunch of driver assistance aids. So really, this is a nice package that's making this vehicle look better and a little bit more functional if you want to head down a rough road. Oh, and I can't forget, it also gets a set of 18-inch beadlock style wheels. No, those aren't actual beadlocks, they just look like it. The other vehicle we have today is right here, the Kia Telluride X-Line. Now, X-Line and Rock Creek, these packages are pretty similar. They bring along a whole bunch of styling enhancements, some nice interior accents, and also a slight lift. Here with the Kia, it goes from 8 inches to 8.4 inches of ground clearance. So yes, it does have more ground clearance than the Nissan does. Now, besides that, I said it, you're getting unique fascia, unique grille, body color accents, and a set of 20-inch wheels here on the Kia. You do get those raised roof bars, although no, you don't get a full-on roof rack like you do on the Nissan. So now I gotta throw it out to you guys. Just based on looks alone, which one would you take, the Kia or the Nissan? How about towing and payload? Well, the Nissan can work a little bit harder. With our real-world payload on the door jamb stickers, our Pathfinder has 1,298 pounds of payload versus just 1,173. And then when you're talking about towing, the Nissan will do 6,000 pounds, and this Kia will do 5,000. If it was an X Pro model, it could do 5,500, but even still, the Nissan can tow more. Now let's look at how much stuff you can pack into these. And first of all, I want to tell you this number, 114.2. That is the wheelbase on both of these vehicles. So they have identical wheelbase, and overall length is within 1 inch. So size-wise, they're really similar, but the storage story, well, it's a little bit different. Here in the Nissan Pathfinder, behind that second row, you get 45 cubic feet of space. Over there in the Kia, it's 46, so basically the same. However, once I raise these up, back here in the Nissan, you only get 16.6 cubic feet, which is not a ton. Now let me grab my handy dandy blue box that we'll use for measuring, and like I said, 16.6 cubic feet is almost enough, but just not quite. So the story here with the Pathfinder is, listen, if you need to haul a lot of cargo, you can, but you can't use the third row. And then if you need to haul people, well, you can't bring too much stuff. Now let's look at the Kia. So over here, let me fold these down real quick. Like I mentioned, you get 46 cubic feet behind that second row. And quite frankly, just standing here, it just feels a little bit bigger than the Nissan. It feels like it's a little more rounded off, so you're just getting more storage. And then I can go ahead and pull these guys up. They're also manual, just like in that Nissan. Throw in our handy blue box. And guys, this is just about 21 cubic feet, which of course is just enough for our measuring blue box. All right, now let's take a look at how people fit. And the first thing I'm gonna do is install my monster baby seat. Now this is actually just over 41 inches of second row legroom, which is pretty dang good for a vehicle like this. And then in the third row, you actually get over 30 inches, and any third row over 30 is usually pretty good. So let me strap this in. Oh, come on. There we go. So I'm not doing the full install right now, just a quick one just to get a size. Now, one thing about this seat is you can adjust it a few inches forward and back, so I'm gonna move it back just a little bit. And now we go by the sheet of paper rule, so a sheet of paper has to fit between the baby seat and the front seat. I don't think I'm quite there yet. Let's go up front now. So this one is gonna have to be moved forward about there. And now, let's see how I fit. You know what? I still fit pretty good. Now I stand at 6'2", over 300 pounds, but my knees are not in the dash. They're close, so I definitely have to cheat forward to get that baby sit in there, but I could absolutely sit here. Now let's see how I fit in the back. So, I'll take the baby seat out now, climb myself in here, and like I mentioned, over 40 inches of legroom is pretty decent. And it feels it too. I actually have tons of space here, a good amount of headroom, and I really like that I have all this adjustability. So if I wanted to move back, I could. If I needed to move forward, I could do that too. Now let's check the third row. So one simple button here, seat tumbles and pushes forward. And here I go. Not bad. I'll tell you the problem right now. The floor is a little bit high, so my knees are up here, and I don't quite have enough headroom either. So sadly, I could sit back here for 10 minutes going down to Grandma's house down the street, but other than that, I would not be able to sit back here for a long period of time. Now, other than that, though, I gotta tell you, you do get a USB-C port on both sides, which is kind of nice, and then when it's time to get out, that slides forward. So getting in and out is not bad, but for big people, the third row is not quite good enough in the Kia. Let's go see what it's like in the Nissan. Now let's see how the baby seat fits in the Nissan. And on paper, it's actually quite a bit less leg room. The second row here is only 35 inches, and the third row is actually only 28 inches. But one of the interesting things there is I'm never sure where brands measure from, because all these second rows are adjustable now. So I'm not sure if I even believe those numbers all the time, which is why I like to install things and crawl in myself. So there we go. Get that installed. Now, like I said, this has some adjustability to it as well. So I'm gonna put it right there. And now we climb in the front seat, because obviously that's what's gonna tell us how comfortable we're gonna be with the baby seat installed. We go by the sheet of paper rule, make sure a sheet of paper could pass between the seat, the two seats. There we go. And, well, I don't really have enough space. My knees are basically into the dash. Maybe I could buy myself a little bit more back there, but it's quite obvious that, yeah, there's just less space in this Nissan. Now, if you were a smaller person than me, you might be okay, but this is something to note. If you're putting big baby seats in the second row, you're gonna have to cheat forward quite a bit. So first, actually, let me get in the second row. Wow, and this is really decent. Tons of knee room here. This seat could come back quite a ways, and plenty of headroom. Now, this model has no sunroof. That's one thing to note. That helps up here with the headroom a little bit, but this is a perfectly acceptable second row. Now let's go in the back. So to tumble this seat, there's a button on the side. It pushes and slides forward, and in we go. Wow, interesting difference. So I actually have enough headroom over here, and I actually have just enough knee room too, and the floor feels just a little bit lower than over there in the Kia. So I know part of this is because of the sunroof, but this is just a funny difference. Even though on paper the third row in the Kia says it's a bit bigger, I actually fit in the Nissan a little bit better. So if you prioritize third row space, this might be your choice. Now to get out, push the button, there it goes, and out I go. All right, let's look at the camera system now here in this Pathfinder. So there's your stock view. It's a top down in the rear. Now there's a physical camera button in this car. Hit it. Oh, and you get that side view looking right down at your front tire. I definitely like that if you're getting in close to a curb. And there's your wide rear. And then back to the original view, which is pretty handy. And then if you do throw it in drive, you also have a nose camera, which is pretty cool too. All right, now we can look at the cameras here in the Kia. So same initial setup, the top down and the rear view. Now on the Kia, I've got to actually touch the screen. So let's see what else we got over here. You can get your top down on the rear. That's kind of cool. And then there's looking down both sides of the vehicle. The Nissan only looked down one side of the vehicle. Now this is a pretty crazy view, that little 3D Kia.
Augmented reality.
It works okay. I mean, the perspectives are a little weird there, Matt, but I mean, if you're just looking for where your vehicle is in a space, it does a decent job of showing you exactly that. And then this is just settings over here. Yeah, so you know what? Overall, the Kia offers a few more angles, and I think it's a little bit more helpful. Although, to me, to my eyeballs, this looks like a little bit lower quality than the Nissan. I thought the cameras in the Nissan looked really sharp.
A little bit fuzzier over here.
Yeah.
And then I think we still get... Oh, we get the augmented reality with the nose cam.
When you're pulling forward.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, very
Look how
interesting.
massive that Pathfinder looks, though. That's a little weird.
Yeah, definitely skews it a bit. And now, folks, here we are out on the road in the Pathfinder and the Telluride. I tapped Matthew for this video, so he came down to help us. So Matt's up there in the Kia, and I'm back here in the Nissan. So first of all, the very first thing we have to discuss, Matthew, is the price. Because these two, they're not perfect competitors. That's because Nissan Canada offers the Pathfinder Rock Creek as a mid-trim level, whereas Kia Canada offers the Telluride X-Line as a luxury trim level. It's the second most expensive. Now, in the United States, you can get a Telluride X-Line that's less expensive and has less luxury content, and you can also get a Pathfinder Rock Creek that has more luxury content, but in Canada, they're only offered in one way, and that explains the about $7,000 difference. The point here is, yours is more expensive, and I think it shows, right? Like, that's a gorgeous interior. What do you think sitting inside up there?
Well, yeah, I've driven them both this morning, and you can definitely feel the difference coming from the Pathfinder and getting into the Telluride. I mean, just the interior accents alone, the different wood-like materials, these matte silver chrome finishes, and of course the brown leather that wraps everything from your center console to your seats, doors, carries even through the dashboard. It's really sharp. It gives you that luxurious feel. So, is it that much, more luxury for the money? Sure, it's nice. I don't know if it's quite worth that much, but it is quite comfortable.
So Matt, the other thing that's super similar here are the powertrains. We both have naturally aspirated V6s. Now I have one extra gear. I have a 9-speed. You only have an 8-speed. And we got a bit of empty road, so I'm just gonna put my foot to the floor real quick and just feel the acceleration. Ready?
Okay, well, I'm in front, so give me a sec here. I'll count it in. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Yeah, there it picks up. All right.
Man, I don't know, he picks up real nice back here. I got plenty of power. Now, the one thing Nissan did say that Rock Creek gets a boost in horsepower, which is kind of smoke and mirrors because you have to put premium in to get those numbers. I'll throw them up on the screen here, but it's funny, Matthew, without premium, I have less horsepower than you. With premium, I have more horsepower than you. So power-wise, they're super similar. Mine felt, it really just downshifted and jumped off the line. What do you think power-wise?
Power band here felt smooth. It didn't stick me in my seat super hard, but it was certainly strong.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think the Nissan hits a little bit harder, and I also think this V6 in the Nissan is a little bit louder, which is, again, personal preference. The Kia, I feel like, is trying to mask the engine noise. The Nissan seems like it lets a little bit more of it in.
The word luxury keeps floating around with this Telluride, so I think maybe it might be tuned a little bit for silence. It is pretty quiet in this cabin.
Totally, yeah, it totally makes sense. And I do think that's a big differentiator here is, and again, the trim levels have a say or play a part in this, but I think the Telluride in general is pushing more towards the luxury space than something like this Pathfinder is. And you know what, Matt? I'm already feeling like that's enough here. I want to switch and get a feel for the Kia. So why don't we switch up vehicles now and keep talking?
Okay, well, if you can catch me, we'll pull over.
Okay, I'm on your bumper.
Okay, folks,
vehicles switched. I'm up here in the Kia now. Matt's behind me now in the Pathfinder. Now, Matt, I think we have to retest the power real quick just because we switched vehicles. So you want to floor it real quick?
All right, well, you count me in because you're in front. I don't want to hit your bumper.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Oh, yeah, that's better. Yeah. We had to confirm that. You said it. Smooth is the right word. This thing really is nice and smooth, but it doesn't kind of punch you. The Nissan, you really do get a punch, and I wonder if that isn't just maybe that one extra gear or maybe that little bit of extra horsepower that it has.
It definitely sticks you in your seat over here.
So Matt, we've been switched now for a little while driving the other vehicles. So what else? What else jumps out at you that you like or don't like in the Pathfinder?
The first impression I had spending a few minutes in the Kia and then hopping right in here, this seat's more comfortable. The foam feels a little more plush, feels a little more supportive. I squish into it a little nicer, if that makes any sense. And just
totally agree. No, the
over bumps.
Kia feels stiff. The seat absolutely feels stiff.
Yeah. The one thing I will say though is the buttons down here, both for my radio and my HVAC, they are white on black, easy to see, easy to understand. Now you tell me, you're looking at the radio in the Kia right now, those silver buttons with silver lettering on them, they're a little tough, right? Like you got to look at them a few times to see what they say.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Now, I think to be fair, at night, you'd see them clearly if they're lit up. But in the daytime, when you get the sun, you know, kind of gleaming off of them, they're definitely hard to read.
Yeah. And then I think the only other thing that really got me was, I mean, just coming out of that parking lot just now, I accidentally shifted this thing into drive when I thought I was going into reverse. I am not a fan of these return to home shifters like this thing here in the Pathfinder.
Yep, couldn't agree more. The Kia has a traditional shifter, you know, PRNDL, and the shifter physically moves to drive and stays in drive. I don't like this trend of these weird kind of electronic shifters that, like you said, they return to a home position, a neutral position. I feel like a shifter should always go where you put it and stay there. I guess, granted, Matt, eventually you build up muscle memory, you probably get used to it. But like you said there, if you're not used to it, it's really easy to make a mistake. And I don't understand why you'd want to make it any easier to make a mistake when shifting. So yeah, couldn't agree with you more on that one. Like the shifter in the Kia, do not like it in the Nissan. Well, folks, we have arrived at the end of this video. Now, I already said it, these two are extremely similar. If you want a slightly more spacious third row, get the Nissan. If you want more cargo, get the Kia. More towing, you go Nissan. If you want a nicer interior, you go Kia. So you can see these things are right there. Now, what it comes down to for me is the fact that this Pathfinder can tow a little bit more. It's more comfortable to drive. And then for less, I feel like I'm getting almost every bit of content that this Kia has. So at the end of the day, if I'm laying down my money, it's on that Pathfinder Rock Creek. Now, of course, I need to hear from you, so please go below into the comments. Let me know which one of these two crossovers you would choose. As always, while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you see every time we publish a video. And then, of course, come right back here to Truck King to see what we're testing next. See ya.